All right, episode 2 is off to a bad start here. As you can see, we are trapped in a very small freight elevator.
I don't like imagining how high we are.
Hey, Colin! Paul, how was the ride?
My ears have popped 3 times. Looks identical to when we played up here. Oh.
The Joywave Kingdom.
This place really would be such a cool house.
Paul, if you want to go to the brew house and get a plate right now, I would.
I don't.
All right.
Sorry. PJ's free.
That's a good point.
Very
Content.
cool.
Joe, you feel woefully unprepared to me today.
What the hell makes you say that?
I feel like you were pretty quiet because you were so busy editing the first episode.
You can see it behind your eyes.
Yeah, that today you were kind of like, what's happening? And then you trusted that me and Paul had this on lock.
I knew you guys did.
Yeah, and we did. I mean, I think me and Paul
I
did
knew
a pretty
where
good
to
job.
I knew where to drive today.
That was good.
I accepted a lot of voicemails.
You listened to all of them.
All of them.
Hi, welcome to episode 2 of Joywave, The First Century. We will be discussing Joywave's second album, Content. That one.
Oh, yes, yes.
So I wanted to start this, though, by talking about, basically I wanted us to review episode 1, where we talked about how do you feel now at the George Eastman house. Broad takeaways. What did we learn? How did we feel watching ourselves back as podcast hosts, content creators? I mean, we're YouTubers now, which is new for us.
I played with the mic too much.
You played with the mic way too much.
I learned that.
Joey, what were your takeaways? Because you spent the most time with...
So the only takeaway was, Paul, please don't touch the mic. There's also another takeaway, which is I did not know Destruction was the 4th song on the first record.
Really? And that made you...
We're not talking about that record today.
No, we're not. And you actually listened to Content in preparation for today, right?
Front to back.
Wow. And I did not, which is why I've decided that Paul is hosting today. No, you cannot look at my notes. Good luck.
If you'd like me to host today, I'd be more than happy to. I am wearing the shirt.
There is no way we're going to forget about what record we're talking about today.
Oh, yeah.
As long as we look.
So where are we, Paul?
We are on the very top floor of the First Federal Plaza?
Yes.
Or building?
In Rochester, New York.
In Rochester, New York.
Our hometown.
I'm not sure if you can see or not, but right behind us is the Kodak Tower, Genesee River, Frontier Field, Go Red Wings.
Go Red Wings.
The building we're in, it was New York State's first rotating restaurant.
Yes.
In the entire state. Opened in 1977. It was called The Changing Scene.
Faint scent of cigarettes and prime rib.
In 2019, Panasonic was in here.
Shout out to Panasonic,
And
who
they
are...
were the last. It's been abandoned ever since COVID, essentially.
So
we played up here, too.
we did. If you look out here, Kodak World Headquarters, and in the distance, there's 2 smokestacks, and that's where we grew up. Paul's house is Paul's house is the first street after the smokestacks, and me and Joey are a couple streets beyond that. It's great to see home.
A little beacon of home.
Smoldering in the distance. We didn't know. Did you guys know growing up what was in those smokestacks?
Every year, because I grew up in the Coda Vista, Kodak would send out like a neighborhood newsletter with like emissions reports.
What are we burning
with
today?
accurate, yeah.
To show that everything was fine.
Why did we pick this to talk about Content?
We released. We did the release show for Content.
That's right.
Right here.
That's right. This building has always been, if you look up a picture of Rochester's skyline, this is the building you notice, and you're like, why has a UFO landed on top of that building?
Yeah, that's what we're in right now.
And growing up, I always wondered, what's going on up there? What is that? I knew that, like, you know, my parents would talk about how there used to be a restaurant up there. And I always thought, man, it'd be cool for that to be Joywave's like Batman World Headquarters someday. We got in touch with the owners, and it turned out there was no one up here, and they were very nice and supportive of artists and liked our band and let us come up here. So shout out to Chris, who got us in back in 2017, and they still own the building today and let us come back up here and shoot a podcast episode.
Shout out to Colin and Yaz, security too.
That's right. Colin and security got us up. You didn't like the ride up here on the elevator.
I just started imagining how high we were going, and
It was a lot of numbers.
yeah.
You didn't like the numbering system it was like a flip. What do you call that? It was like those old like calendars that flip
A
days.
Rolodex or whatever.
Yeah, it was basically a Rolodex of numbers. We had a great conversation. We played a festival this past weekend. We had a 6-hour drive home. We needed to stay awake, and we went through our band's tour history from show 1 to the show that we were driving home from.
Yeah, I literally just went to Setlist FM,
Shout out Setlist FM and
searched Joywave, and then went to page 78 and scrolled all the way down and started there.
well, we tried to remember things about each one of the shows, and the Content era we were kind of deliberately light on because we were like, we're going to all meet up, on Monday and do this with cameras. So let's not have too much fun doing it in the car. So we've saved a lot of this to discuss today on camera. I couldn't believe how many times we went to Europe. Like in my mind, it was like 1. We were like zigzagging the Atlantic Ocean. We were gone for like all of 2015 and 2016. That was in 2014. That was crazy
Yeah,
to me.
it was a lot. And we were very busy during the Content era as well.
We were, and that's a great segue as today's host. Oh, I wanted to shout out. Today's coffee is brought to you by Winter Swan.
Hang on, I'm going to go get mine.
Oh, you're going to get yours. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go get it.
The logo on the cup?
No, the logo's not on the cup. Winter Swan, put the logo on your cup so that people can see it. So we have some questions that you guys sent us. I'm going to kick it off with one of those. This question is from Dillwill19. Can you pretty please repress Content on vinyl? It's a glaring omission from my collection. Now, this has somehow become the rarest Joywave record on Discogs, where you track your vinyl collection, Joe. This record is selling for like $200, and that's too much. You should not pay it is worth $200, but you shouldn't pay it, which is why we've decided, folks,
Today.
to repress Content. That's right. Here it is. This is
Let me
actually,
hold it.
yeah, you hold it. There you go. Hold it over your shirt. Wow. I think it's going to launch as a pre-order. Very excited to bring it back. We've got a cool little like reversible cover thing. We'll post like a demo of that. But congratulations to Dillwill19, who will finally be able to own Content on vinyl. Is it content or content, folks?
Haven't heard that in a while.
We broke the internet by just
Don't we
writing
always?
the letter CONTENT and letting people figure it out. How often do you guys hear this mispronounced? It is content, by
All
the way.
time. I hear content more than content.
Yeah,
I do
think
too.
From the average person.
And
And that's fine. That was the whole point.
that was the whole point, right? I loved the idea that most people would only see the word printed in text and have to determine for themselves what it was. And of course, content is king, baby. That was the hot word of 2017. And
Heard that
I
a lot.
think still is, but people, I think people try to use different words other than content now. Maybe not. Content creator,
Yeah.
right? They still say content.
For me, it's always been content because it came after How Do You Feel Now?
Correct. It's an answer to How Do You Feel Now? And if you own the CD version of Content, after you take out the disc, it has a phonetic pronunciation spelled out that says content. I also loved the idea that we had kind of, just been through the whole music industry cycle one time with How Do You Feel Now? Making the sophomore album, I was thinking, it is more than likely that this album sits on the Spotify playlist ecosystem for as long as it's there and just becomes content. So to me, it was content. It was a cathartic exercise. Lyrically, it was more introspective and reflective than How Do You Feel Now had been. It was therapeutic to me to write after what we had been through in our lives on How Do You Feel Now? But I realized that to 99.9% of people, it was going to be content. So I love that more people think it's content. And we have a voicemail.
Oh, yeah. New system here.
Paul is the minister of voicemails. And I think we're starting with a voicemail from Mike Schaefer, if you want to pull that up and maybe play it into your mic.
Hi, this is Mike Schaefer calling about the Content or Content era of the band. Content is my favorite Joywave album. I discovered you guys right before the record came out. I noticed, I was watching the sessions from the recording of the album. I'm pretty sure I grew up near that barn or whatever it was. I'm curious how you guys landed on that spot. I grew up in West Bloomfield. I saw you guys went to Critics a lot, this restaurant in Honeyett Falls, or diner. My mom used to work there. That record is awesome. I've got a signed copy of the vinyl, and it makes me really happy anytime that you guys play any songs from it live. So I'd love to hear, I guess, how you guys landed on that spot, and maybe your favorite song from the record. Thanks. Hope to see you guys soon.
Two-parter.
Wow.
Yeah. Snuck in two questions.
Thanks, Mike.
I'd like to immediately just point out how great of a name of a restaurant Critics is.
Honestly, as you're recording your sophomore album, constantly eating at a restaurant called Critics, and we'll get there. I didn't think about it that at the time until right now.
Why have we never gone back to Critics?
It's closed.
It's gone.
Pandemic casualty.
Yep.
We ate there a lot.
We did eat there a lot.
Making this album.
Okay, so we recorded Content at a barn in West Bloomfield, New York. Mike is right. We recorded How Do You Feel Now at our studio downtown, which was behind the Bug Jar at the time. And we wanted somewhere different. We wanted somewhere where we could stay, where the plumbing worked. And we found this barn. I think I found it on, honestly, maybe on Zillow. I was just like, what exists that's on sale? And Ben, our manager, got in touch with the owners and was just like, hey, we know you're trying to sell this, but because it was actually also on Airbnb at the same time. That's how we found it.
Right.
And we were like, hey, can we record there for a few months? And they were kind of like, I don't know, a band. And I was like, you don't understand. We are not cool.
We use that term loosely.
Yeah. This
loosely.
will be this will be the least party thing ever. We found it, I think, on Airbnb. And we were there from, I wrote this down, July 15th. July, August, September, October, to November 15th. I believe that's right.
Of 2016.
And I have down here a memory from each of us at the barn. What do we remember about our time there? What screams barn to you?
The thing that sticks out to me the most is how we wrote down the names of the songs on little pieces of paper, folded them up, and threw them in a bowl. And to pick the next song we were going to track, I just blindly reached in, would grab a song, open it up, and I'd be like, going to a place,
Did we do that?
Dude,
Yeah.
I remember doing that, but I totally
I'll
forgot
never
about
forget it. That's what I think about.
I have no recollection of that.
I actually think there's footage of it somewhere of you at the desk going like, all right, Paul, what do we got next? And Paul would
And it
go
was
to
a
a bowl.
white plastic bowl, and I'd reach in, and
Yeah.
it was fun. I don't know why that's the most vivid memory.
That's
to
a
me.
great one. I totally forgot about that.
Also, I played Mario 64 after I was done tracking up on it was a 4-story barn.
Yeah.
And there was a loft on the top level.
But it was weird because certain the second story was non-existent. It was a full,
kind of like a catwalk loft.
Yeah.
And I was playing Mario 64 up there while you were moving on to bass, I think.
Okay.
And I finished the game by the time you were doing vocals.
Patty was the owner. She was very nice.
Yeah.
Shout out Patty. Thank you, Patty. Called it Patty's Barn. Didn't it have stuff that said Patty's Place
Yes.
inside of it? Yeah. Okay.
Some great bonfires. What are your guys' memories?
I was just going to go, the nights we would spend outside.
That's the one for me. Is I remember there was this app. I think it was Sky Guide, and you could see we were far enough outside the city where there was very little light pollution, and we would track the International Space Station. So we would take ISS breaks. So every 90 minutes we would go
go out and
outside
rave.
and watch. Yeah. and watch it go overhead if it was visible, because sometimes it isn't when it.
I remember
passes.
thinking it was crazy how fast it moved
Yeah,
across the sky.
yeah, really interesting. If you've never done that, it's worth checking out. It moves weird.
There was a place we'd go get ice cream. I think it was called Dipper Dan's or something.
Yes.
Or
Dipper Dan sounds right.
but something like that. And it would be hot in the middle takes and just be like, hey, want to go grab a shake? Dipper Dan's, I think.
There was a second part to his question. Favorite track on content.
Title track, Content.
Interesting.
Love playing it.
Oh, I love playing content. Mine definitely going to a place.
Content, for sure, but also thanks for coming. It's a weird one in the Joywave catalog. It's very like...
On the ride over here, I completely forgot about the whole like first half of that song. Because when we would play it
great.
live,
That's my favorite part.
We would only play the end after like the crowd cheering.
Right.
It's funny. That would be your favorite part.
Yeah. It's fine. Hey, that's why I made it. Okay, so track list quick overview. So why don't can we pull it up, and Paul, you're the host. If I had to guess a first track, I would go with Content.
That is correct.
Shutdown.
That is also correct.
Okay, and one of my favorite things about Shutdown, and we got into this
In the private jet the other night.
in the private jet the other night, which we use for all of our shows, sponsored by ExxonMobil. We played a college show at Carnegie Mellon, and this projector, when it went up, made this weird tone.
They gave us like a classroom as our green room. So
As they
naturally,
do.
we were messing around with all the switches we could in there, and we found a projector on the wall, an electric one that went up and down, and it made a noise.
It did.
That noise you can hear on the song Shutdown.
It was very musical, and I can't remember if I pitched it to have the other tone, or if it was just, it made one tone going up and one going down, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
so much so that the demo was called Carnegie.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, right.
It was probably still
Just like a voice memo on the phone.
Yeah,
When I
Carnegie.
pulled it out of the
MP3.
bowl, it was probably Carnegie.
Oh,
written
it
on
definitely
the
said
paper.
Carnegie. Yeah. Okay, track 3 is It's a Trip.
Correct. I would have guessed that to be second.
I would have too, but I thought about the ending of Content and how that going into It's a Trip would have made no sense, and how we wouldn't have done that. Okay, track 4, I'm going to guess Rumors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Rumors was originally supposed to be on Content. I think I had intended that for whatever came after, because Content was a much like darker, more introspective thing. And I think when we turned it in, the label was like, what if you made another song? Is 5 going to a place?
No.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. And that's why we didn't do it that. Joe, what's 5?
Confidence.
He is correct in his confidence.
Which means that Doubt is next, because we've got this question from Entropically Denise. Why put confidence before doubt? Which one got the last word? Obviously doubt. Obviously doubt.
Look at us.
Yeah, look at us. Confidence is a voice memo entirely. Like, it's just me sitting at a piano, recorded on an iPhone. And yeah, it's just there to kind of serve as I guess not a foil to doubt. Like, doubt is the foil to confidence. But yeah, just a real quick thing. And I actually used to kind of like hum that to myself, like that, like kind of thing quietly. And I was like, I'm just going to put this on here as like a weird, like, note to self thing that goes through my head sometimes. And so it's there before doubt. Okay, so after doubt, that's got to be Going to a Place.
Correct.
After Going to a Place is Little Lies.
Also correct.
Little Lies, You're Told. Okay. Then When You're Bored.
That might be like my second favorite, Little Lies. I miss playing that one live.
When You're Bored.
Yes. Probably my least favorite.
Really, it's high for me. It's one of my favorites.
I know.
Yeah.
Polarizing song.
Yeah. Yeah, on this side.
When you're bored, I usually skip that one.
Whoa.
Well, Paul, thanks for really powering through the drum takes at least.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Really big of you. All right, so then thanks for coming is after that?
Yeah.
And then that's got to be Let's Talk About Feelings.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
So looking back at Content, what do we think about it now? Joe, you listened to it this morning. What were your feelings?
It is dark.
You know what?
is
I had that thought too. And I don't remember thinking it was dark at the time. I remember thinking it was honest and introspective.
I mean, you probably just took that as me saying lyrically. I meant sonic, like instrumentally
I think
dark.
both.
Yeah.
I think both. And I remember that being kind of like the consensus a bit, which surprised me, but in hindsight does not surprise me. Like, we were coming off of the really intense How Do You Feel Now cycle. Like I think the album is like a reaction to How Do You Feel Now instead of a successor to it. And the biggest difference for me, which we got into a little bit last time, was that I stopped drinking. So on How Do You Feel Now, there's these songs that are like pushing the tempo where I'm like out doing like a weekly DJ gig. I'm drinking. I'm thinking, how does Parade sound in this room right now as I'm DJing, as people are having a good time? And it can still be like parts of How Do You Feel Now are dark, but they're like upbeat still. I guess not all of them, but this is like, what happens if you take away the euphoric feeling of alcohol and like don't recalibrate? And I think the answer is you get content. I remember thinking also that like Tongues really altered the trajectory of our band. And I was like, I've written all these rock songs and these more like mid-tempo things. I kept like pushing myself to experiment with like, you know, Tongues, Parade, like all these different things that ended up being like, okay, this is really exciting in this moment. And this feels like the moment to do these songs. And that meant cutting a lot of songs that nobody has ever heard that we kind of wrote in like 2011, 2012, 2013. And I was like, okay, well, do I want to make Tongues again? And I was like, no, I don't. Like, and I was like, let's dip back maybe into some of those rock things that we were doing before. So I think it's no alcohol and the desire to be like, all right, there's all these other things that we can do. What happens if we show these to the world? And we talked a little bit about those like festivals we were doing, and we were getting like Tongues was getting played on the radio, Destruction was getting played on the radio. We were showing up and it was all like folk stuff or active rock stuff. Like it was either like Lumineers or Chevelle that we were playing with. Suddenly by the end of that, we were playing with all these bands who were like doing kind of like electronic rock hybrid, and it was kind of dancey. And then I felt like we were kind of like drowning in it. Like there was a lot of it all of a sudden. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do that because like now all these other artists are doing it. And I'm not saying that we invented that or anything, but I became like hyper aware that it was everywhere and becoming a thing. And anytime anyone tries to box me in on like, you're doing a thing, I'm like, no, I'm not. I am not doing a thing. It cannot be pinned down. And I think that was a lot of the reactionary element of Content versus How Do You Feel Now. That's the end. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I guess dark is a good way to put it. It's certainly our darkest, right?
I think so.
We touch on a little bit like later on, but I think as a whole, as a record, yeah.
Sorry.
Can you wait a second?
I think it was a really polarizing second record. Like it was kind of crazy to do second. And I feel like, I don't know, the people who love it really love it. And I think a lot of people were like, what if you did the boop boops? We're going to go with a voicemail from Devin.
Okay.
If you've got Devin.
Let me see. Okay, I've got Devin right here.
Hello, Joywave. This is Devin. I had a question of what song do you think aged the best on the album? I usually say Content. Bye.
No, Devin.
Aged the best.
It's Content, Devin.
Well, I mean, we still play It's a Trip. So
I guess that would be my
every
answer.
show.
Yeah. I think Content, the song aged well.
Yeah.
But
she
really
asked
love that
what
one.
song aged the best.
Yeah.
All of them.
All of them.
Timeless classics.
Yeah.
I think I'll go It's a Trip because I can't even remember the last time we played a show and didn't play It's a Trip.
I'm going to go Content just to be a contrarian, but It's a Trip is a good pick, I think. And the thing I remember about It's a Trip was us making a rule for ourselves because we were talking a lot around that time about that There's a Phil Collins record where he refuses to play cymbals. He's just like, I'm done with cymbals. And a lot of it spilled over into Peter Gabriel's music, where Phil Collins would like play drums on Peter Gabriel records and stuff, and or on one of them, I guess, and refused to hit cymbals. He's just like, I'm over it. And so on It's a Trip, we were like, let's not hit any cymbals. Like there's hi-hat, but there's no
in the
crashes.
Chorus, there's no, yeah.
And actually there's no, is there hat in the chorus on the record?
No, I just play it live.
Okay. So
we should release a version called the cymbal version where we put cymbals in the chorus.
I think that would have made more, like that's what we, like the song should have cymbals in it. It's like a noisy rock song, but I remember we challenged ourselves to not use cymbals, and we had a Kemper, a digital shitstorm amp that we didn't use for anything else. And when you turned off the cab simulator, it made this awful, like aggressive, high frequency, like it was just, it sounded like that. And we used that for the chorus on the rhythm guitars. And in doing that, we filled a lot of the cymbal frequencies a different way.
I love that it doesn't have cymbals.
It's a fun fact, and it's weird when you go back and listen and you're like, oh my God, there are no cymbals on this rock song.
Yeah.
What about making a sophomore album? That's like a big thing for bands.
Right.
I don't remember feeling that personally. Like a lot of pressure. You gotta, because there's the saying about how you have
sophomore slump or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have your whole life to make your debut record, and then you have 4 months to make your follow-up, which was like kind of true for us, because How Do You Feel Now, we talked about last time, it was like a best of like a bunch of years of songwriting for me.
I think you write so much that the sophomore slump has never been an issue, you know, for us, because it's like we said earlier, we enter the recording phase with so many demos.
Yeah,
you know, I think maybe songwriters out there that aren't as, you know, quantity versus
the word
quality.
is prolific that you're looking for.
Prolific.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. How could I forget?
Yeah, I think that is that like a thought that ever crossed your mind was, how am I going to follow up tons?
Yeah, did you
I don't
ever,
think so.
from a
No.
songwriting aspect, were you like nervous to start Content?
No, but there's been a couple times in my life where I wrote a song and I was like, I think that's the best I can do. One of
What
them,
song?
yeah, Golden
When
State.
You're Bored?
Yeah, When You're Bored was one. Golden State was one, which is funny because it's like so early. I think True Grit might actually be the best song I've ever written. I've said that before.
Wow.
But that one sticks out to me. But no, I didn't feel that going in here, and I think part of that was just we had made so many things. Like there was the 77777 mixtape, the 88888 mixtape, Coda Vista. So even though How Do You Feel Now was our debut for like the world, it didn't necessarily feel like the debut to me.
That's a good perspective.
And
Yeah.
Content didn't feel like the sophomore. It just felt like what was next. The writing process for this I wanted to talk about because it was really different. We talked last time about, I don't know if the three of us have ever discussed this actually, but last time we were talking about on How Do You Feel Now, we're working off these kind of fully formed Pro Tools demos where like I've sat and worked things out and spent days and days and days on them before we're actually recording them. But I was doing that, you know, like in my parents' basement, like with nowhere to be and nothing going on in my life. Now we're gone all the time. So now I don't have any time. But I still love writing, and it's like one of the things that makes me feel alive. I'm like, I feel like I need to be doing this. So I changed how I was working pretty substantially. I stopped producing when I was doing demos, and I just started writing, and very quickly where I was only making skeletons. And I kind of like forced myself into this by using GarageBand on an iPad, because there is very little that you can do in there to make something like sound good. And I had a pair of headphones that had like a little mic built into the cable. So I would just kind of like basically put the mic in my mouth and kind of like hum a melody. So I was doing this on flights. I was doing it in the van during How Do You Feel Now?
I remember you doing that.
Yeah, so some of the demos, I can hear you guys talking in the background or like a song playing on the radio in the van. But I was like, I don't know when we will be working again on an album. And I kind of had this theory that like, I think I still subscribe to that, like a song is a song, but the production is what puts it in a genre. So if you got a melody, lyrics, you know, a chord progression, could be any genre. So I was like, with no production, I can decide what kind of album I want to make later, but let me get some ideas that I like. So when we went to the barn to start recording Content, we just had these skeletons and they all sounded terrible. I mean, they were like unlistenable. So I actually have a few if you guys want to hear them. I'm prepared to share some of these right now.
I probably remember them.
You think you remember
Only if you finally show the world how you name your demos.
I will tell you the names of these demos as we go.
Okay.
They're frequently location-based. My worst one, which is a song no one will hear, but Joey's been grilling me about for the past 18 months, is one called Walk, because I was on a walk.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so this one I want to start with. This is Rumors. Turn up the iPad volume here.
I can also just...
Yeah. Okay, cool. But we can talk about it at least. This demo was called Heathrow.
Yes.
So
I
wrote,
remember that.
Okay, so I wrote
I didn't until you just said it.
Okay, so I wrote it on a flight
Yeah.
to Heathrow. Surprise. And I also did not check this, but I bet the synth bass is off by a half step because I can't hear, like I suck at hearing low end, but when there's a jet engine going at the same time, because I did not have like noise canceling headphones, so the rumble of the jet I was hearing at the same time.
Pretty sick.
Here it comes.
This sounds like the mechanics in this building trying to start moving the restaurant again after being off for 4 years.
It sounds like a Kyle Mooney sketch or something.
I thought we shouldn't do a chorus. Listen to that hi-hat go. Who knows what happens next? Looks like the same thing 15 more times because that's how GarageBand works.
Cool.
All right, what did you guys think?
It was great.
Should we record that one?
Yeah.
That screams.
It's a no-brainer.
That screams. Send it to A&R. Show them. Tell them it's done. All right. So this next one, also an iPad creation, and this one was a question from someone I forget who, but the question was, how did you get the sound of the chorus synth in Content? And the answer is use your iPad. I present to you the song Indiana. That sounds like the song.
Yeah, that's pretty...
So this made it in, just straight off the iPad.
This is comic accurate.
Yeah. You guys are talking.
I was going to say that. I think I just heard myself.
Yeah. These are my mumble lyrics. I work off mumble lyrics.
Yeah.
Can't you say? 'Cause I'm trying.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
This was a fun one to record.
Yeah, we had 2 drum kits in the chorus, right? All right, I won't put everyone through another verse of that. Kevin Holik, how did you create the synth sound for the chorus of the title track? That's how, Kevin. I'm also realizing now, as we played those, and I can hear us in motion, I have terrible motion sickness, which means if we are moving, I have taken Dramamine. And I'm just realizing right now that perhaps the biggest factor in this album is that a lot of it was written while I was taking Dramamine, which probably pushed down tempos and vibes. I get like incredibly sad when I take Dramamine. Like it makes me feel terrible. And I'm like, why is life so hard? And then it wears off and I feel okay.
We are not endorsing anyone to do this.
We are not endorsing Dramamine. They are not one of our sponsors today. We had a nice big sounding room for the first time ever because our studio downtown was like not a big open space. In a barn, I think we were really tempted by like how big we could make the drums and how much room sound we could have on the drums. That was new for us. And I think that did end up kind of informing the sound of the record too, at least the drums.
Yeah, that sounds right. That barn was huge. Yeah, where's that coming from?
No.
Is the Zone having a party?
Start the paranormal camera. Yeah, Jay pulls out like an extra set of cameras.
Yeah, I heard like
this is now a go show operation.
I heard like cooks and silverware. Okay, now we're ghost hunters.
The other thought I had listening to this record is that I felt like Possession is more the successor to How Do You Feel Now, not Content. That was a big feeling I had going back.
Interesting.
It's way more in line. And a lot of the songs on Possession, we started writing like pretty much after Content, which we can get into next time, but a thought I had. A question from Maya the Psychic. Do we ever get to know the lyrics for the first part of Thanks for Coming?
I thought she was a psychic.
I'm not telling.
You should know.
But if you can get them out of here, they're yours. Did we bait and switch people with Content versus How Do You Feel Now?
I would imagine if I'm someone that heard Tongues for the first time, I've never heard the band before, and that's really all that I like, and then I go to your show and I hear that record, I'm a fan, and then I hear you put out Content, I'm like, wait a minute. I've been duped.
Yeah, I remember playing Content live and people like seeing fear in people's eyes. To this day, when we pull it out, people are like scared. Did we pull a bait and switch?
Not on purpose.
No, I'm going with hard yes.
Yeah, what do you just want another How Do You Feel Now?
Yeah, what do you want?
What
The
do you-
Boom
what do you
Boom
want?
song?
What do you want?
All right, so we're going to do another voicemail. Nathan.
Okay, Nathan.
Yeah, do we have Nathan?
Hi, this is Nathan, and I had a question about the Content era of the band. Specifically, I noticed that, compared to something like Cleanse, where it was this sort of moment of kicking off, the chips on your shoulder, artistically and poetically, and trying to find, recognize the things that are special about you guys, the bonds you share, and what you do have, and those more well-meaning, optimistic tendencies and stuff. Whereas Content or Content feels very dark and very all that exploring those darker impulses or those the fears of what other people think of us and the judgment and self-doubt and everything. I guess my question is, one, how do you know when to lean into the more optimistic impulses versus the darker ones? And I guess upon reflection, maybe now that you have finished something like Cleanse, how does it feel actually looking back at something that has a bit more of a darker, more cynical read? What does it mean to you now, after the fact, when looking back that far? I'm very curious. Okay. Also loved Permanent Pleasure and everything. Great job, y'all. And I adored getting to see you guys perform multiple times at this point, twice now, and I'm looking forward to the next time, and always inspired by what you guys do constantly. I'm a game designer myself, so anything that's about cool, creative technology making emotional experiences, that's what I'm all about. So anyway, good luck to you guys on whatever you're doing next. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed the question.
Nathan, thanks for the question. Nathan thinks the record is dark. That's interesting. Man, that versus the optimism of Cleanse. I think it's just being honest about where you're at artistically. I think that like Content is the first record where I really dug in and was like, it was raw emotionally, honest lyrically. How do you feel now? Like has moments like that, but how do you feel now? Like as a songwriter, it still has moments where I'm singing words that like feel good. And I'm just like, these words feel good in these spots. And like, yeah, here's what it means. But like Content, like the lyrics kind of come first and like they still sing well. But if someone is like, oh, that doesn't feel as like nice as it could, it's like, well, sorry, that's like what it means. You know, like that's what this song is about. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah, there's just this weird recalibration moment where, like I said, not drinking is a huge part of it. Being like, I don't want to do the same thing again. I don't want to do Tongues Part 2. All of that, I think, just led that kind of down that.
But at the same time,
path.
You're not really forcing anything either.
No.
Right. It still comes naturally.
Yeah, this is like extremely natural. Like every song is just like, I have time today. What do I feel like doing? I guess I'll make something. And that's what we were pulling from. There's not a song on this record where I was like, I'm going to sit down and do something people like today. I was just like pulling from like the personal, like, here's the experience. Here's the flight to Heathrow. Here's being on I-80 in Indiana. Here's all these moments. And then we built them up in the barn and turned them into Content versus a bunch of GarageBand demos. Okay, so there was one other thing that I wanted to hit on Content here and talking about it. So much of this album is lyrically is kind of like, is this what I wanted? You know, the Content versus how do you feel now? And I thought this was interesting. I remembered this yesterday as I was kind of making the outline. Yellowish Sunbeam, I wrote most of that song like the day before or the day after It's a Trip. Like that's how old that is. And we brought it back for Permanent Pleasure and finished it. But that line, is this what I wanted? Can it be undone? Is like from that demo that I left as is. And I tried to like tap into kind of what I was feeling when I was working on that demo. Is like, I finished the lyrics for the bonus track on Permanent Pleasure, but I thought that was kind of interesting to loop everything back together. I think we're going to do 2 voicemails now.
Okay.
All right.
Who do we got?
Taylor voicemail.
Taylor Dubray.
Hi, Joywave. This is Taylor from Milwaukee, Wisconsin calling. First off, Content is my favorite album of the Joywave discography, so thanks for asking about her, because we love her. My question is, on the song Going to a Place, there's that little bit in the middle that you guys recorded at the Rave in Milwaukee, and I was wondering if you guys were just like fucking around in the pool and decided to record it, or if you guys went down there like with the intent of, hey, we should put something on our album, or did you just record it and then you were like, wait, this sounds kind of cool, let's just like throw it in a song? Like, what's the whole story behind the recording piece that happened in the pool at the Rave? Also, did you see any ghosts while you were down in the pool? Okay, love you guys. Excited to find out why you're asking about the Content album. Okay, bye.
Content. Yeah, the Rave in Milwaukee, one of the most haunted venues in America. I would recommend that someone ghost hunt there.
That was such a fun day.
It was such a fun day.
First of all, let me be clear. The pool is empty. In the question, she said, fucking around in the pool, and I instantly thought of us just like splashing each other.
Playing water polo.
Yeah, no, the pool was empty.
Yeah, every band who has sold out the Rave
correct.
Has signed it.
I skateboarded in that pool.
Yeah, Noah skated in there.
Noah too, yeah.
I had my studio stuff with me. I had a little like Apollo interface and a couple of mics with me. I set them up, and I'm trying to think how I should word this.
Very carefully.
The song features a vocalist who told me that it was perfectly fine for me to put him in there.
It featured a lot of vocalists in that pool.
Yeah. You can look up what show we played there in 2016, but we were down in the pool. I set up mics. All the musicians there were like, let's just like make some noises and I recorded it and everyone was like, will you send me the files? And I was like, yes. So I just sent everyone the files and everyone could kind of do whatever they wanted with them from that day.
I remember it all started, I'm not taking credit or anything, but I just went into the middle of the abandoned pool and like laid down, starfished, and I just started like, oh, remember?
I forgot about
He started a lot of
and
it.
it filled like the whole room, and all the other bands started coming out because they thought it was like funny, and then that's how, it was just a great room for acoustics.
Yeah, we were just all kind of making noise. One of the singers was going wild in there, and it ended up being basically what we did that night ended up being in the right key for going to a place, and I just kind of manipulated it around to get like the space of the rave. So the answer is it was thrown in at the end as like a what if this ends up being a thing?
It's a great question, though.
Yeah.
We didn't intend for it to go on the record.
No. We weren't like, let's track a little bit of content.
And I think the answer is Paul was fucking around in the pool. It was Paul.
Yeah.
I was splashing around.
Yeah, splish splashing. We got another voicemail from Sam.
Okay. Let's see here.
Hello, my name is Sam, and I was wondering if there are any songs that didn't make the cut or got changed a lot and ended up on future albums, or if there's anything you guys recorded from that era that is still locked away in the Joywave vault ready to be released.
So that's a great question. There were some things started there. There's nothing on a future album, but there are some things we recorded. I think our original plan, there were some other very dark songs that were either cut or we had intended to kind of release, like, we were really into the idea of like expansion packs kind of for content, because that's what like video games were doing. And I remember we wanted to release, content, and then we wanted to release 2 EPs that were called additional content.
DLC.
Yeah, and they were going to be like
DLC.
expansion packs that we were going to release kind of like with the theme. And those songs do exist. None of them have been released.
We made a lot of funny joke songs while we were in the barn too.
Yes, there were a few nights where we were like, we need a break.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Do we need to?
And we just kind of riffed some songs. But yes, they exist. I hope that they will be heard one day. I think at some point we'll do something with those. But I was kind of mourned that like we didn't do the additional content 1 and additional content 2, because it was really fun thematically. And
I like how he said Joywave Vault, though, because there definitely is a Joywave Vault.
And they're in there. They're in there right now. We finished the album. Great job, guys. Rich Costey mixed it for us. It was awesome working with him. He had done all sorts of like great rock records that we liked growing up. There's like Rage Against the Machine in there, like all sorts of cool stuff. He did he's still crushing it. He did the newest Deftones record. It sounds amazing. But it was super cool working with Rich. He fixed a lot of my terrible engineering and made the barn sound great. And he knew what to do with all the space and stuff, which was super cool. All right, so the album finally comes out July 2017. So that's 1 year after we've started recording it. And now I want to talk about music reviews. Because I'm going to go ahead and say music reviews as a concept died in late 2017. Possibly because of content. I remember that being such a thing, and us receiving one review in particular where I will just refer to it as a nameless review from an influential outlet. But this review was like a long form thing where I was like, oh, it's a big deal that this website is reviewing our record. And it was written in a fashion which called into question the authenticity of my lyrics and experience as a human being, where I was like, how is this possible that this was written? I remember like feeling it deeply and being like, oh my God, this has like sunk our album campaign. I don't remember
Do you
what
have
like
the review to read?
I honestly refuse to read it to this day.
I don't even acknowledge that it exists.
Yeah.
That's how much it means to me.
Because what I wanted to say is that it did not matter.
Yeah.
And I remember being crushed. We were on tour with Young the Giant and Cold War Kids.
Did they ever matter? It's like movie reviews.
That's what I want to say is that I think they're less than movie reviews. I think they used to matter because you had to go buy a CD.
You couldn't just listen to it.
You couldn't just listen to it. And by this time, streaming is taking off and it has completely made them worthless.
Yeah.
And now they do not exist. They do not exist.
Because why would they? You could just open Spotify.
Right. Yeah. And you can just decide for yourself. But I remember being on tour with Young the Giant and Cold War Kids, and they were like, what did the review say? And I told them, they were like, that's really good. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, they gave us a 1. And then the other band was like, they gave us a 2. And I was like, oh, I guess maybe we did great then. But just being crushed and ultimately music reviews going away was such a win for artists. And there was this battle. Like I remember artists being so upset with music reviewers for going through and, you know, I don't remember reading too many music reviews that were as like personal attacky as the one that we received. But like artists would get so upset about them and suddenly poof, they were gone and artists won and everyone gets to decide what they like or don't like or what they want to spend their time listening to or not listening to. And it's just artists and fans and the middleman was cut out. And I just think that's one of the best things about the streaming era was just that going away. And I don't know what those people are doing now. I assume they write about other things or they just write about like, you know, the absolute biggest artists on the planet where they are just trying to get clicks. But the whole system is just engagement bait, clickbait, to drive traffic to the website to sell an ad. So it only makes sense actually to write about Taylor Swift.
I could see reviewing live concerts. That would make sense.
Yes, because you can't experience it without spending money. That does make sense. I agree.
But yeah, even just the concept of rating and reviewing music is so funny.
But for video games, it does make sense because again, you have to decide what game to buy.
That's the thing. It makes sense to some people, but I feel like the vast majority of gamers already know if they're buying a game or not. They don't need to see 9.9 slapped on the cover of the game.
Yeah, right.
You know, like
right. But with movies that are in theaters, again, I still think that like I understand that because you are making a decision unseen whether or not to spend the money.
And I'm saying personally, I have never liked reviews. Even when it was just Siskel and Ebert reviewing one movie, that's too many people reviewing a movie. I don't need their opinion. Like I can decide the opinion. Yeah. Funny thing about opinion.
That it is a funny thing about opinions.
I don't know what's Siskel's.
I gave it 10
what's
a perfect
Ebert's?
score.
Well, he didn't like it, so no way. I'm out.
And I think the same as Ebert. Me and Ebert like all the same stuff. But it's like reviewing a Taylor Swift album makes sense only because you're trying to get her fans to go to a website.
All I hear is that there's a hole that needs to be filled, and I'm going to start reviewing albums now, I think.
There are people who do it on YouTube. Like that is a thing. Sure. But again, that's like its own.
What about reviewing old reviews of music reviews?
Yeah. Like review an old review of an old Metallica album?
Yes.
I'm into that.
And critique the review itself.
Some of the websites in like middle times years would go back and be like, they gave Kid A like a 5 when it came out, and then they would take that down and change it to a 10 because like they had been like wrong at the time.
Yes. No way.
Yeah, can you believe it? Right. And but they had to have the correct opinion going back into the catalog to have like the credibility.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the last question about the album, and then we're moving on. This is from Leo.E.Bell. What part content do you still connect to today?
I don't think I've ever connected to this album aside from the fact that I played drums.
He's wearing the
So there we go. That's my connection. I played on it.
I was there. I was there playing Mario 64. Why don't you connect with this album?
I'm not saying it in I don't connect, like I don't like it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I connect to any one of our albums. I guess I don't understand.
Yeah, what part of content do you still connect to today? I think is what they meant.
I don't know what that means. They may as well have asked my favorite color.
Okay, I'll go, for example.
You wrote the lyrics.
Sure.
It's a question for you.
I think they mean lyrically.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the part that I still connect to is the sea of infinite content that we were drowning in at the time of writing, and which the title track deals with a little bit, right?
The album
Searching for the
cover
difference
itself
between what
deals
content
with
and
it.
content can bring. All of humanity is making more and more things every day. Like, I remember there was a statistic that I saw in maybe 2020 or 2021 where that year 35 million new songs were released on Spotify. 35 million.
And that's probably higher now.
It's probably way higher now. This is like pre-AI. So a human made all of these, okay? 35 million songs. There are 12 notes. You're using 7 of them in a scale. You're probably using like 4 of them in your song. Out of 35 million, how many of those are actually just like mathematically identical? Like I can't do the math on that. Someone else out there can, but it's crazy. Like there's way too much. And a big chunk of it is like people just expressing themselves, which is genuine. And I think there should always be room for that. But some of it is just like
feeding the machine.
Yeah. It's crazy.
You take the human element out of it, you take the expression out of it, and when you're just feeding the machine,
and that was content. That was content versus content, and
yes.
And I loved in the title, what is this ultimately going to be?
Yes,
I knew what it was for me,
yep.
But what is it going to be in society? And the answer
for you when you
was
listen
content.
To it. Yes,
yeah. I want to get into music videos. Let's start with "It's a Trip," a classic, filmed in Miami.
My favorite of all the music. I think of all the music videos we've ever filmed, I think it was my favorite experience, just because not only was it my 30th birthday during that shoot, but we had an entire day learning how to use the wave runners. They picked the wave runners specifically because they could back up and go in reverse. Most PWCs, personal watercrafts, can only go forward. Wave runners can go backwards. That's why those were picked.
Okay.
The thing is, wave runners can also go 0 to 80 in 4 seconds. Like Lambo fast.
And at the end of the shoot, what's his face was like,
yeah,
you want to open her up?
Yeah.
So we had partners. Dan had a model. I had Joey, and Ben had Sean,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so we were very careful, and obviously, but then when we had wrapped, I had asked if I could just like let loose, and that was kind of like the best birthday gift ever.
You were the only one that did too. We were kind of just like, I'm done.
I was so scared the
My
entire
face peeled
time.
back. I mean, I just cranked that thing. We were also in Key Biscayne, which is just gorgeous. Like it's like where they film all the
Pitbull videos.
Yeah, all the big videos where they're on boats is filmed in Key Biscayne. There's manatees and dolphins everywhere, and they were friendly. Like the dolphins would follow you, and like you could just reach out and touch them. It was so cool.
I was really bad at driving the PWC, personal watercraft, and I knocked the girl off of it, and she fell into the ocean, and I felt so bad.
Which wasn't a big deal. She could swim, but it was a big deal because they had to
redo all of her makeup,
hair.
and they had to dry off her hair, and we lost so much time because of that, and I felt like such an idiot. And then she had to come back and get back on, and I was like, I'm sorry that you had to go through all of that. I wish I was better at this, but I'm just here to mouth the words. They probably should have let her drive and like me ride on the back.
Would have been funnier.
Yeah.
I think the first time she ever saw us, we were in full makeup. So she had no idea what we looked like until...
She had no idea we weren't old.
Yeah. Yeah, once we got the big, heavy costumes off, It was great, but that was the end of the day.
Oh, and
'cause
the
we filmed it
makeup.
in reverse.
Who could forget the
right,
makeup?
right.
Yeah, so we started old, and it took me 4 hours to get the makeup on, and then another 4 just to take it off. I think Dan was even longer.
It was terrible, and I had to eat lunch in the most decrepit.
Yeah, so
Like
our
version?
our little green room setup, dressing room area was a restaurant that was open to the public,
Yep.
but they closed off a little area outside for us to like have as like a spot to keep our stuff. And so Dan went and ate, and you know the restaurant's open. There's like little kids.
Yeah,
like,
there were little
screaming
kids
and-
staring at me, and the parents were like, "That's impolite. Don't look at him.
and it
He
was
didn't
when Dan
choose
was
to
like
look like that."
full mummy,
Yeah, and
like bald mummy, decrepit. Like
the kids were like terrified. I think I was like eating at a table alone
were.
too. Yeah.
it was such an experience. My makeup artist for that shoot was named Bruce Wayne,
That's a good pick for
and
you.
he had a Batman belt buckle. The guy who did Joey was working on Walking Dead at the moment. Yeah, they were really good makeup artists.
Pros.
It was such a fun time. I gave so much respect from then on out to like all those actors, like Michael Dorn who plays Worf. Imagine every day sitting and putting that stuff on. It must have taken forever.
Rene Auberjonois, who plays Odo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This has turned into a different podcast
What do you
real
guys-
quick.
What are you
Let's
guys
bring it
talking
back.
about? I know it looks like I know what you guys are talking about, but I don't.
Shout out to Ghost Cow,
Yeah.
directors of It's a Trip,
Brandon and John.
Ghost Cow Films.
Yeah. They also did the music video for Dangerous.
Correct.
Very fun people to work with. They have a movie called Drunk Bus. They actually shot in Rochester, which I assume they thought about coming to Rochester because of us, but maybe not. I don't know. There is one other music video from that era. It is a music video for Doubt, which I love talking about. That is the craziest video we have ever made. The concept for the Doubt music video is, what if Joywave does something crazy?
I call it the Pantene Pro V hair commercial.
Big headache when we were done filming that one.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
big headache. Also, I remember I turned all the hotel pillows bright purple because I just dyed my hair the day before we left for that video shoot. And actually, in the video, you can see purple on my neck if you look closely from the dye.
I remember the director, he was very French, and he was just saying, do something crazy.
We still say that to
Do
this day.
something
Do something crazy.
Yeah, when we don't know, like,
Yeah.
what do I do with my hands in this photo?
And that was his
Just do something
direction, was
crazy.
like they were just like filming, and he would yell, do something crazy at us.
With Doubt playing super loud.
Yeah, and he was just like, move your body as
Yeah.
fast as you can.
a lot of pretending to get punched and like falling backwards on a mat
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
We're like, are we doing it right? He's like, do something crazy.
Yeah.
I think that was
That
the
was
only
at a-
conversation I had with him.
That was at
him
a time in our lives when we really needed direction too.
Yeah.
Like we needed to be told what to do. People still like the video.
It was entire. It was like a
came
post
out,
thing.
in no way am I saying like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
video's
yeah.
bad. It just making it was like, what is this going to be?
If someone is
Yeah.
like, how did you make it? I would say, I don't remember. I had a concussion.
yeah, our brains were hitting our skulls
Yes.
a lot during
Yes.
that shoot.
All right, we got a voicemail here for this one. I was surprised to get this, but it looks like we have a voicemail about the Going to a Place lyric video, which Joey made.
Hey, I had a question about the music video, lyric video for Going to a Place. The ending section, I know it's filmed in Rochester, but where exactly? I really love that video, and I would like to go there someday. Yeah.
Wow. Great question.
Great question. Is it the Genesee Riverway Trail?
No, I was going to say, do you want to take a guess?
That was my guess.
Dan? Well,
I
you know.
know, yeah.
Dan knows.
I was there.
Braddock Bay. There's like a bird observation deck.
Aviary?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
what that's called?
I think that was the first place I ever saw a bald eagle, like in real life, was there, just flying around. But there's like nice little
A little ornithological platform, if
Yes.
you will. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Braddock Bay.
Braddock Bay, yeah. My dad grew up there.
That's deep Greece, right? Or like, yeah, North Greece?
North, yeah.
Okay. Nice area. It's like good for a head clearing walk. Like if you,
Yes.
you drive your car up there and just kind of go out and look around. Very still.
Great if you're into falconry or
turtles.
Or peace and quiet.
A lot of painted turtles in Braddock's Bay.
All right, now I want to get into live, the tours of the era. Moving up to a bus, fellas. We did it. No more van, no more Sprinter. We are a bus band. What is it like to wake up in that bunk?
What was the first bus tour?
We released the record. We played here that week or 2 weeks later, or maybe, week or two in the Flying Saucer, First Federal Plaza. Then we went on tour almost immediately with Young the Giant and Cold War Kids.
That was first bus?
Yes.
That was our first bus. Wow. Tours during this era. Young the Giant, headline. Sir Sly co-headline. Sasha Sloan opened for us on one of our tours. Slywave, yeah. Thanks for coming was what we called the headline tour for Content. It wasn't the Content tour. It was just thanks for coming. And there was part 1, part 2, and then like kind of a soft part 3, I think. But we've got a question here from Jay Booley. It says, I really loved that tour and your use of the CRT screens on stage. How complicated was that to program it properly while also being compatible with the lighting time-wise? And another one from Jay Roundtable. I have so many questions about the TVs you guys used as a background when you were touring Content. Where did they come from? What was it like traveling with them all? Did any ever break?
I feel like that's a Joey.
It's all Joey. That's why I put this in. Is now Joey talks.
Yeah.
A couple of them broke like whilst on the road, but we had some backups. There was a place in Rochester where we got them all. I would imagine they've like quadrupled in price now for like what they are because I think people like using them.
Yeah, and retro gamers
Right.
are now looking for old CRT TVs and monitors.
Right. When we got them, they couldn't get rid of them. Getting them to like sync on stage was a process. It was kind of early in some of the software that like enabled us to do that. So we had to do some weird delay things that would only affect some of the screens so that they all were going at the same time whenever we triggered them.
Was it something about a cube?
QLab? Shout out Noah. Ian Noah took some time and got that going. And yeah, that was, I wish I could go back and watch some footage of that. That was really cool.
You made like an 8-bit version of like the It's a Trip video that kind of played during that song, which was super cool. It looked like a Super Nintendo cutscene. How did you do that?
I don't remember. I'm glad somebody remembered that.
How about a memory from each tour? Young the Giant, Cold War Kids, what do we got?
We played the Hard Rock Casino in Florida, and the bus was parked in the back, and in that back lot was a little fence no higher than this table, and on the other side of that fence was Universal Studios. So I just walked right over the fence, got a butterbeer.
They like said it was fine if we did.
Who's they? The Hard Rock?
Yeah.
The people who didn't work for Universal?
Yeah.
Paul, what do you got for Young the Giant and Cold War Kids?
A lot of good times with those guys. Great people.
Yeah.
I remember when they worked out on stage during our set.
That's right. Okay, their whole band is ripped. Like everyone is like
they
very
work out.
into
They
fitness.
do like hard workouts. Like they have
The
huge,
ropes.
thick nautical ropes in their trailer.
So they're out there.
Looney Tunes barbells.
Our commitment to no fitness was astounding at that point. So we would see them out there and be like, you guys are crazy. And they would work out every day. And so the last night of the tour, we asked them, this was in Houston.
Just work out.
Yeah, just work out on stage during our set.
Yeah.
So they came out one at a time and did their workouts just on stage.
By the end of our set, there were like 15 people on stage.
All working out.
Doing like heavy workouts.
It was very fun. Like we already didn't have room. And I love, if you don't have room, just embrace it. Like make it worse for yourself on purpose.
Yes.
Turned it into a bit. So like that was great. That was probably my favorite memory too. We played Red Rocks for the first time on that tour.
Yeah, how could I
also,
forget?
Yeah,
that's like definitely.
I got food poisoning that
memory
night.
from that.
At Red Rocks, you got food poisoning
that night. So that's why I always forget about Red Rocks, is because of how violently ill I became that night.
It rained all day, and we were worried they were going to cancel the show.
Well, that's another one of my favorite memories, was getting rained out in Kansas City and then going to play the record store.
I think it was called Vinyl. Was the name of the store? And it was basically like, sorry, we had to cancel, and everyone showed up. It was awesome.
Okay, Sir Sly co-headline tour. We had never met Sir Sly before. It was agents
Never
getting
even heard of
together. Never even heard of him. Agents getting together, being like, these two bands should go out on tour together. And it was great. I met Jason Suito, who I have a side project with called Best Friends now, on that tour. And probably nobody knows this, but Jason really kept to himself. He's like a quiet guy. And basically every night on stage, I would give this big speech about how Jason Suito was my best friend and I'd known him forever and we go way back. And I would lie just for like 5 minutes straight about conversations we had had. And basically I publicly shamed him into being my friend. And the first night of the tour, Joe, you and me went to get pokey.
Yeah.
And Jason was there silently eating pokey. We were like, hey, you're in Sir Sly. He's like, yeah.
Didn't look like he was having a good time.
No, he did not want to spend time with us.
Is it the pokey or the company?
I think it was the company. Yeah. We like forced him to be friends with us. And now we are very good friends and make music together.
And we go get lunch together sometimes.
We go get lunch together sometimes. Yeah. We did Madison Square Garden. We got there and I learned that there was one union that takes the gear from your bus and trailer to the door.
And then there's a hallway union.
Yep. And then there's a different union that takes it down the hall. Yeah.
So, and what ended up happening is it's pitch dark and they're like, you're on, and they push me and I'm walking out and I go,
crowd is cheering and stuff. We're ready to go. I think Dan was like, hey, we're Joywave, and it's Madison Square Garden. And we just hear Paul in our ears go, guys, I need a second.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I can't see anything like in front of me. I'm walking as if like I'm actually blindfolded, and I touch a drum set and it's not mine. And then I keep going and there's another drum set. That one's not mine either. And then the third drum set, also not mine. And then finally, the one up front, of course, is mine, ready to be played. I sit down. The hi-hat's like over where Joey is. That was a day.
So we played Madison Square Garden. Some of our parents came down and stuff, and it's like, wow, you're playing MSG. This is like sick. Like you don't think that this will happen like when you're a kid, and now it has, right? It's a moment. We're like,
sure was.
This is incredible. I can't believe we got to do this. We play Holmdel, New Jersey, and this was the day. It was like a Wednesday. We played at 5:30.
Stuff of legend. We don't appreciate non-creative heckling.
Yes.
That's how I'm going to put it.
Yeah. Good setup, because I forgot about that.
So this is how it all began. Literally, somebody screamed Freebird. Dan and I have always said, like, if someone ever screams, play Freebird to us, what was our rule?
Yeah, it's that it's over.
Yeah, like for us, it's then over.
Yeah.
You've ruined it. It's over.
And we've always had a thing of destruction multiple times either means fuck yeah or fuck you.
Right. And this was the day after MSG, this was the peak of like playing to security. Yeah. And then when that person screamed, play Freebird, I looked at Dan looked at me, and I got goosebumps. I got so excited. I was like, what's going to happen? And then we opened with Destruction.
And then what did we play after that?
Destruction.
And then what did we play after that?
Destruction.
And then what was after that?
I think Now.
Because we let the audience pick. Someone had a sign that said, like, I came from this many miles away to come see you.
Yes.
And I was like, come here.
There were two girls up front.
And they came down.
That were holding a sign that they were actually there for us. Dan brought them up, and we asked them what they wanted to hear. They said Now, so we played Now. And then we went right back to more Destruction. I think we did it 4 more times after that.
And we played Destruction 7 times. And people were so upset. People were going up to security guards, going, make them stop. Make them stop. They're just playing the same song over and over again. People were getting more and more pissed. The people who were there to see us were elated.
Oh, yeah.
They were like,
we gave them the show.
I am seeing a magical, historical moment. And all of this is on YouTube, by the way. You can just watch, because someone filmed it from front of house and was just like, oh, shit. I remember getting some angry messages after from people who were like, how dare you do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry. I think some of them, I was like, hey, if we're ever in the area again, send me a message. I'll put you on the guest list. In hindsight, that was a ridiculous thing for us to do.
Oh, totally.
However, we stopped playing. Our set was over. I was so sure we were getting sent home. I was so sure it was
we
over
thought
for
that
us.
was it.
I was like, this
pushed
is
it
our,
too
we're
far.
going out like
Yeah.
blaze of glory. Like this is the moment that we're getting kicked off the tour and they've just had enough of us. And so James, who was our front of house guy, and also Mr. Wives was after us and he was doing their front house too. So James puts on a Spotify playlist that is just Destruction on repeat for the half hour changeover. So the audience just hears Destruction through the PA for an extra 30 minutes at this point. Mr. Wives comes out and does their set. James puts Destruction back on the PA. Walk the Moon comes out and starts playing. And Eli, their guitar player, starts playing over the top of every single one of their songs.
The bulk of the tour while we were playing, they were side stage watching us cracking up.
Oh, they were
dying.
so excited.
Yes. So it was the opposite of being sent home. It was
We made
Look at
best
these
friends
guys.
for life.
Oh
Yeah,
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 everyone was
because of
like,
that.
"This is
Yeah.
amazing." And then our agent called me and said, "Just so you know, you're definitely going home and you messed up." And I was like, "I don't think I messed up." And this is the craziest thing. No one ever said anything to us.
people have brought it up to us positively.
Yeah.
At no point.
Like their crew?
Yes. I see people on Reddit trying to like decipher. What did they mean by like doing
It's
this?
my favorite thing.
Yeah.
You know what I will say? Something that I did not expect is what happens to your brain after it's like,
Oh,
The
I started to
fifth
forget
time?
how the song went.
man, when are we going to beat that record, guys?
I don't know.
I don't know if we ever do.
Yeah, I don't think-
it's-
I think that was kind of
stays
the-
there.
Now we're going to have so many kids screaming Freebird.
I know.
I just
Don't
realized
scream
that.
Freebird at us. You're not going to get. You're not
It's
going to
not
get
fun.
It
it.
actually upsets us. Don't
Yeah,
do
it's
it.
not funny.
Okay, so we somehow do not get kicked off. And then we do a couple more shows after this. We get a call to open for Smashing Pumpkins. And that's how 2018 and the cycle kind of ends
Smashing
for us.
Pumpkins is like the bookend for the Content era because right after that, we started. Well, that's next episode.
So I remember we got called and we were like, yeah, we want to go play with Smashing Pumpkins. And I'm such a, okay, I have this weird affinity for Smashing Pumpkins and Billy Corgan. Like I love like the big songs, like Tonight is like incredible. Like I remember you and me watching that on the tour and you were weeping.
Yep.
Like-
It was a moment.
It was so cool. I love the way that Billy Corgan chooses to exist. I believe that he wakes up every morning, looks in the mirror, goes, what should this guy not do? And then goes and does exactly that set of things. Like there's this cover of a magazine called like Pause Chicago or something, like PAWS, where Billy Corgan, it's like a cat fancier's magazine for Chicago, and it says Billy Corgan's Siamese Dream. And it's like him like holding a Siamese cat. Like I think he has like two of them, just having a nice day. He owns a wrestling league.
Mm-hmm.
He owns that like tea shop. There was that weird moment where people were like, he's like dating Jessica Simpson for 2 weeks.
Forgot about that.
Just so many things where you're like, why are you a wrestling promoter? You're Billy Corgan. Like you do songs. And I remember this is the only time we've done a tour where I said, I am not talking to that person because I'm such a fan of their existence. And I don't believe that I could butterfly affect Billy Corgan's life, but I certainly couldn't like improve it. Like I want him to continue to do weird shit every single day. And at one point, it was me and him sitting in catering. He was talking to one of the other bands. I can't remember what they were called, but he was talking to him about his preferred Strat pickups. And I don't think I made eye contact. I just ate my food and listened to all of it. And I was like, this is so like.
It was weird hearing his voice like resonate in catering. I was like, holy shit. And at those shows, they played all the songs you wanted to hear.
Yep.
Hits.
It was so cool.
So I think we're going to end this talk of the live shows with a voicemail from Corey.
Hi, this is Corey. I wasn't calling about the content era. I was calling about the content era. I guess I have the wrong number. Hope you have a wonderful weekend.
You too, Corey.
Okay, yeah, have a good weekend, Corey. We've got a written question here from Retroscope. What was it like performing Doubt on Stephen Colbert's Late Show? R.I.P. That's probably one of my favorite Joywave performances of all time. very timely question with Stephen Colbert's show ending. I have so many feelings about this. You guys can start if you want.
I feel like you can kind of handle it because I agree with everything you're probably going to say. I mean, we grew up loving Colbert. You know, it was a big deal.
Huge. Like
after school, we'd get out of school and come to your parents' house, and before band practice, we would watch the Colbert Report from the day before.
Yep.
A huge institution for us.
Yeah, we were such huge fans. And obviously, like the late night shows we did on the first record were amazing too. Like Seth Meyers was awesome. He was like so kind to us. Playing Jimmy Kimmel was awesome. But getting the call to do Colbert was like very much a moment. The fact that we got to play Doubt on his show meant a ton to me. Like that song is very much me looking back at my time like working retail at the dead end job, thinking like, is this going to work out for me? And I think Doubt was actually written earlier. Like I think that it was written around the same time as Somebody New. And if you look at those two songs, they're very similar. But you know, Somebody New went on How Do You Feel Now? Doubt went on Content. But getting to play that song kind of like inside the TV, like when I would get out of work at Staples, like, you know, if we didn't have practice or something, I would go home and watch the Colbert Report or you know, watch it live and just be like, all right, I had a terrible day. Life is not working out how I want it to, but this makes me laugh. It brings me joy. So getting to play that song there was extremely special. He knew that we were huge fans because we had like, I think made it known via like our
Heather,
publicist so all day I worked to get the teleprompter changed for our introduction. We did not get to meet him before we went on. Like he came over and shook our hands after we played, but you know, it said in the teleprompter, like, here to play the song Doubt from their album Content, please welcome Joywave. And I said, can we change the script? Can it please say Grammy eligible album Content? Which of course, any album is Grammy eligible. And they were like, all right, we'll talk to Steven about it. We'll see if he wants to do it. But you know, he doesn't like, he's going to do what he's going to do. Like, all right, so our big moment comes and Steven comes over and he's like standing in front of us. He's not talking to us yet. And I see him reading, he's going, Grammy eligible? Grammy eligible?
It's funny.
Grammy eligible? And the big moment comes and he looks right to camera and goes, from their Grammy eligible album Content, please welcome Joywave. And I felt so unbelievably like energized because like my joke got in the teleprompter and Stephen Colbert read it and was like, yeah, that'll work.
The lead up was really great too with his crew. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but his crew is basically like, whatever you guys want to do to make this performance special, we're down.
Yeah.
So we had layers of video going over the
performance.
You
had you did
I don't
the video.
even know if you can watch this anymore.
Yeah, you can.
They didn't tell us no for anything. They were, his whole crew and his whole staff were like, do what you want to do to make this a cool moment.
It's all on Peacock, I believe.
It is not on Peacock.
It's not?
I think it would be on Paramount probably. Or it's CBS.
Paramount Plus, yeah, that makes
CBS.
sense. I'm positive it is.
I had a wireless mic and partway through the song, I was like, you know what? It would be very cool to just like walk over and be on the couch in this moment where I'm inside the TV of the thing that brought me joy in the time when I'm writing about. So I walked over to the couch. I don't think we checked it with anybody. Like the camera followed me and I sat there and just deadpanned right to the camera. And Stephen Colbert was watching us play like off camera. He sees me go sit on the couch and he comes over and he sits next to me and he makes sure to stay off camera. So my significant other got this photo from the photographer and got it framed for me for Christmas one year. It's one of my favorite moments. So this is that moment that is not on the broadcast where Steven just sits down next to me as I'm singing the song. And I was like, this is insane.
Right, because in the actual broadcast, it's hard zoomed
It's just me.
on your face. And you can like see the mic and your shoulders.
Yes, it was like dead on.
Yeah, and you don't see anything
Right,
going on right
so
to
he's
the right
checking the TV to make sure
really
he's not
funny.
on.
You were like try not to break too. I could
Because
see it in
he
your face.
started pushing me. And I was like, the fact that this man knows that like the most meaningful thing to me would be to just fuck with me in this big moment is so incredible. And he starts leaning into me as I'm singing, pushing me as hard as he can, but staying off camera. And I almost started laughing so hard because I was like, this is so cool. I remember I had like a wrist strong bracelet, which was part of the Colbert Report. Like in an early season, I think it was the first season, he injured his wrist.
Yep.
He had a cast, and it was when those like yellow Live Strong bracelets were popular. And he did a red one called Wrist Strong to raise awareness for wrist injuries. And the rules of it were to raise the awareness. If you met someone more famous than you, you had to give them your Wrist Strong bracelet. So I wore it, and then I gave it to him at the end of the program. And he was like, wow. And I was like, you're more famous than me. He was like, all right. And he put it on.
Yeah.
And at the end of the show, he goes like this with it to the camera, which was super cool. I wasn't sure how to write about it for a really long time, but it really meant a lot to me. And so Here to Perform on Permanent Pleasure, kind of the end cap of
you got to save
of
this
the
for
first
that
century.
episode, man.
No, I know, but like it's like, yeah, I probably should. But it's like that experience encapsulated, which I thought was cool. I have one more story about playing Colbert, and I think I have shared this with you guys, but I don't know for sure that I have. I think maybe I've shared with you, maybe I haven't shared with you. So as a big Colbert fanboy, I got tickets when the show was very new. So I went in New York, and I went to a taping. I don't remember what year it was. It was very early. It was like month 3 of the show or something. So I'm sitting there with the girl that I was dating at the time, and there's a warm-up comic. We are seated in the front. Not a pleasant experience. So the warm-up comic, his name was Paul Mercurio. He pulls up the girl that I'm dating at the time, and he's like, what's your name? You know, they go back and forth. Who are you here with? Right? So then he pulls me up on stage. This guy's like, can you believe that he's with her? And like the whole crowd is just laughing hysterically. And I'm like, this is my nightmare. And he does this whole like 4-minute bit about like, can you believe he's with her? And then he goes, what do you do for work? And I'm like, don't worry about it. And he's like, what do you do? Someone's like, he's a musician. He's like, you're in a band? And I was like, mm-hmm. He goes, good luck with that. And the crowd just starts laughing hysterically. And I am fucking shamed, dude. It is my like 15-year-old nightmare. So I get off stage. And I'm like, I can't believe that I just experienced that in the year that I just experienced that. Oh, well, I'll be okay. We leave at the end, like 2 people like, I saw you at like this place where I'm like, thank you, whatever, good night. So that experience is like sitting with me. We get booked on Colbert. We get there, and it's the same warm-up comic. It's Paul Mercurio.
He's the house warm-up
He's
guy.
the house warm-up guy. And I see him backstage, and I walked up to him and I said, hey. He's like, hey. I said, you probably don't remember, but I was here like a year or 2 ago. You pulled me up on stage. Like we did this bit. He's like, oh, cool. I said, yeah. I said, one of us is going to be on TV tonight. And he started laughing. And he was like, that's good. I was like, thanks. And then he kind of takes off down the hallway, and he gets halfway down the hallway. He turns around and goes, I'm really surprised you made it. And then I started laughing really hard, and it was so funny. He was great about it and such a sport. All right, so I think I wanted to do individual favorite memories, and then
if you go back and you look at when we did the footnote retrospective, there is footage that looks like we are recording the record. And we staged it because in actuality, what we were tracking was the joke music that we made. We made some joke songs.
Where do those songs live?
I don't know. My favorite thing that we got to do during that cycle, I always love like when you are making art and just like being honest and putting things out into the world and it yields something that is like a one-of-one experience where someone is like, I like what you do. Let me show you this thing. Like, I love that. Like, you guys got to do that tour of Nintendo. We did a tour of NASA.
Oh, yeah.
And we got to go into the room where they did the Apollo 11 moon landing, like the
Mission Control.
Mission Control, yes. And
like the Houston We Have a Problem room.
Yes, and you can go as a member of the public.
Yeah, but you
can't go in that room.
I put my foot
Yes.
on the flight operator's desk.
Yeah,
and took a photo.
Yeah, you can like
they don't let you do that.
They basically let us spin the knobs.
Yup. That was so cool. I will never forget that little like private tour for the rest of my life because like you said there was like a tour but they were up on the catwalk.
Yeah, you can't.
And we were down like playing with the suits.
Yeah. It was so cool to
I forgot
be
about
there.
that.
Okay, I have one last audience question here from Varsera. Who designed your website during the content era? The terminal layout was so cool. I don't know the answer.
Is that when it looked like a old DOS
Yes.
system?
We like rebuilt MS DOS as like a website. So you would show up at our website and you would it was a command prompt interface to use it. So you'd have to type in the word like tour or like whatever page you wanted, but also it loosely worked with like different MS DOS commands, like directory changes and like del *** and all these like very nerdy things. And I loved that because it went so well with the record cover and everything that we made. And it turns out it was not functional and people thought we should change it pretty quickly.
Yeah, people kind of got discouraged from navigating the website.
Yeah, it turned out a lot of people, not as many people knew how to get around DOS as I thought. Hey, I think that's the end. We did it. We talked about content. We talked about the album, making it, the track list. We talked about General Darkness.
Who designed the cover art?
Alex Trokit did it. He's awesome. Yeah.
I think it's my favorite cover.
You know, I was trying to think that this morning. It
Of
might be
all of
my
ours.
favorite too. I love the, I don't know that this needs explaining, but the letters CONTENT are separated out of the noise. You can find the content in the content. That's what the record cover is saying. But yeah, I think that's it for talking about content. Next time, we're going to be talking about Joywave's third album, Possession. Where do you guys think we'll be? Could be anywhere.
Somewhere out of this world.
Oh.
Or out of this body.